here to see. So let's give a round of applause to director Rob Zombie and star Sheri Zombie. Guys, come on out.
Hello, hello.
What's up, guys?
I love this screen. I was just up there in the projection booth watching. Boy, this screen looks good.
This is the second night. You guys had a screening last night out in Burbank. That went well, yeah?
It went well, but the screen and the projector wasn't as good, so I was freaked out through the whole screen.
Yeah.
The film looked wrong to me, so I was having a panic attack.
How are you
And the
feeling?
lights came on, too.
Yeah, the house lights came on during the screening, so that was really
It
exciting.
sounds like Burbank. So this is the end of a long journey for this one. How you feeling? You good? I mean, like you presented this at a film festival, and now it's going public.
We are beat down.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey because we never made a movie like this before. I don't mean subject matter or that too, but usually the last couple films, the 2 Halloween films, we had a release date locked in before we had a script. So it was just nonstop panic to rush out a film in 8 months without even an idea. But this, since we didn't have a distributor because we got, independently sort of financed it, then when the movie's done, you got to go through that whole journey, which we had never done. So that added an extra 7 months of, wrangling. But it's all good.
Yeah. How did you feel working under that condition where you had a little bit more freedom, a little bit? I mean, you had a little less money, I hear, but you didn't have the Weinsteins breathing down your neck, going, "Get this in theaters in 4 months."
You know what? I don't know if it seems like there's no good situation to make a movie. You have complete control. I swear, I don't know, maybe just me, but you have complete control and no fucking money. We had like no money and no time. We shot the whole thing in about 4.5 weeks, which was brutal. And we had no money for anything, and well, we tried to hide all our financial woes.
But you did such a great job, it looks like a lot of money.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend. It's fake rich.
Well, Sheri, when early on in this production or project, when he was writing, when did he approach you and say, "Listen, I'm putting you as the forefront of this project. You're going to be my lead"? And what did you feel about that? How did you feel?
Well, I don't think he quite put it like that. I think he wrote the script, and I didn't see it till it was finished. And then he said, "Do you want to do it?"
Well, I said, "Here, read this,"
Yeah.
and you read it, and you came downstairs, this look on your face like, And I thought for sure you were gonna say, "No way," and but you did, so it's all good.
Well, it's a change of pace for you. I mean, it's a different kind of vibe, a different kind of energy. Was there anything that you'd done previously, maybe going through the emotional ringer on Halloween movies, that kind of prepared you for this?
Well, sure. I think, the Deborah Myers role, and especially in the first Halloween, was, kind of similar emotionally. But I didn't really try to pull from that stuff. I approach each character as something new and fresh. That way I have something fun to play with. Yeah.
She just learned the emotionally draining stuff from living with me. Just our daily life, emotionally draining.
When do you guys shut it off when the production is, when the day's shooting is done? Or do you guys kind of keep going and talk about either the day's shoot or what's to come?
We're still talking about it.
Still talking about it. No, I guess. Monday we officially stopped talking about it. So I never say the word Lords of Salem after Sunday night, ever again.
Where did let's talk about the project, because after Halloween 2, I'm sure you've been wanting to kind of go and do something a little bit more original, not that's anything tied down to a certain property. You've had Tyrannosaurus Rex that you were kicking around for a little bit, and a couple other projects. So how did Lords excite you?
Really, the way Lords of Salem went down was Tyrannosaurus Rex sort of went away after Halloween. That was going to be the follow-up to Halloween, and then I don't know what happened. That just never happened. But then I didn't really have a project. I was in the middle of doing music stuff, and the producers came to me and they said, "We want to, we'll give you no money and total freedom, and our only request is that it be sort of supernaturally-ish." That was the only guidelines. And I was like, oh boy, I got nothing. And it was actually Wayne Toth. I remember being in his shop. We were working on something for tour. And he was sort of like, hey, what about that Lords of Salem thing you were talking about like 1,000 years ago, which I had completely forgotten about. And I pulled that out, and that was the end of that. Kind of did a half-assed pitch over the phone during sound check one day. We're on tour, you know, with the guitarist speeding back. I was like, yeah, and then there's like this Satan thing, and well, they probably weren't even listening. They're like, ah, sounds good, just do it.
Beyond Sheri, who are you excited to work with? You worked with a lot of new faces this time around. Noted, seeing this the second time, Dee really pops off the screen. I never really kind of picked up on her the first time.
Yeah, Dee was great. I mean, I tried to get a lot of new people, really. I would take, if they were familiar faces, you know, they play pretty background roles. I mean, you know, Bruce Davison was a new person I've worked with, and Pat Quinn, and Meg Foster, and Judy Geeson, and you know. Well, not that many other characters. So
Yeah.
that's most of the cast.
And you shot on location in Salem, yeah?
Well, actually, the funny thing is, we only shot in Salem for a day and a half.
Oh.
We were been pretending like we shot the movie in Salem, but we shot the whole thing in California and went to Salem and shot like for a day and a half. And basically, every 5 minutes, Sheri had to change her clothes and walk back out the same doorway and walk down the street to cheat it, so it seemed like we've been in Salem for months.
Yeah.
No, we were just running around and with no permits, just filming and trying to move before I get busted.
And you and I had a pretty good conversation when I interviewed you last week about the visual style of this, and you working with DP Brandon Charleston. I was laughing about how you said you guys felt very uncomfortable getting into that vibe because it wasn't like House of a Thousand Corpses. It wasn't
Well,
like
yeah,
Halloween.
I mean, I actually noticed Brandon's dad, Ron Frost, did the special effects. He's actually credited as Ron Frost, which was kind of funny. I noticed as the credits went by, we're supposed to fix that. Sorry, Brandon, that's your dad's credit. Yeah, because this was not my natural inclination to shoot a movie like this. Usually I like to shoot stuff handheld. I like to be really rough. That's just the way I like the look of things. It feels very meaty to me. But I thought that it would make the movie look low budget shooting it that way. I don't know why I thought that, but you know, I shot the other movies that were all more big budget that way. Probably would have been a lot easier, but then we locked onto this idea of, you know, doing everything very symmetrical and composed and, you know, just slow dolly moves, which are very time consuming, which is a really smart idea when you have no time to set up these complicated shots that waste all day. But once we committed to it, we stuck with it. Yeah. And I don't know if it was the smartest idea we ever had, but we decided to go with the flow.
I'm curious, you talk about your creative process because there's something interesting that you said. Lords kind of popped up, and then you said to me, well, I kind of got bored with it, and then I decided a little later on to revisit it. What about a project that, like, when do you get bored? What
You always get bored on page 30. It's so easy to write the first 30 pages, like, this will kick ass, and then run around when Act 2 would kick in, you go, I don't know what the hell this fucking movie's doing. And that's when you stick it to the drawer and go, I'll get back to that later. You know, I got a lot of page 30 scripts kicking around, you know? It's always easy to get to that point, and it's after that.
Well, does it balance into music and, you know, directing kind of, you know, you take a little time off, work on the music, and then does that kind of like fuel you up and then get ready to get back behind the camera again?
I guess, yeah. I mean, with this project, it was different because I never really took a break from either, you know, because I'd always done that in the past where I would disappear forever. And, like, I worked at Rejects for a long time and hadn't done music for a long time, and then it's like, you know, Halloween or whatever. This time, I never really left either. Like, I would work on the movie, then I would go on tour, come back from tour, work on the movie some more, go back out, make a record, come back, edit the movie, go back. And so I never really stopped. So it was just kind of one big chaotic mess.